with storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Whoa. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning to all of our radio listeners or viewers via Von Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel, and welcome to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education and Talent. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this Saturday morning. Today we have some guests with us, but we'll get a chance to meet them a little later on. Today is the last Saturday of the month, and so we'll get a chance to meet our guests in a bit. However, ahead of that, we have a few activities happening this week within our ministry, and we wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of what is happening so that we can ensure that our students have access to the various opportunities. This evening, we're going to start with this evening. This evening we have the CSS production, and 2 weeks ago Mrs. Paris and some of the students were in studio, but this evening we will have the CSS production as part of their 75th anniversary activities. And the production is a continuation, actually, from a production which took place a few years ago. And it is focused on Class 1 or Form 1A12. The question is whether or not Form 1A12 will graduate. From the last production, you know that Form 1A12 was unable to graduate. It's been a few years, and so it's time to see if they have qualified for graduation. The production and concert will take place this evening at the NEDAX Cultural Complex. There'll also be entertainment by Easy, Empress, This and That, X-Man. There is a $25 admission for adults and a $15 admission for children. So we're trying to figure out Rhythms of Arts Dance Ensemble and the Paris Duo will also be on the program. So once again, adults $25, children $15. Go on out and support the Charlestown Secondary School as they continue their 75th anniversary celebrations, and as we find out whether or not the students of 1A12, they're kind of old. They've been there for about 12 years. So they're kind of old, but they were just not able to make it through high school for whatever reason. We'll find out if it's time. I think they are past the mandatory age of education. So we'll find out if they will get the chance to graduate tonight. Also, just a reminder as you prepare for the remainder of the activities for the Charlestown Secondary Schools celebration. We're also looking at the October 11th gala dinner and awards ceremony at the Hamilton Room, Four Seasons. That is at a cost of $200 per person. It is a high-end, elegant affair, and they will be honoring some of the contributors. It is impossible to honor all the persons who contributed, but they'll be honoring some of the persons who have contributed over the years to the development and growth of the Charlestown Secondary School. The event is being held under the esteemed patronage of Her Honor, Mrs. Hylita Liburd, OBEMH, Deputy Governor General of Nevis. And so if you haven't collected your ticket as yet, some persons got paid this week and they were waiting for that time to collect the ticket. If you haven't collected your ticket as yet, we encourage you to do so and to support the Charlestown Secondary School in this very, very important event. Go on out and also support the various awardees. So get your ticket during the course of this week for the the 75th anniversary gala dinner and awards ceremony hosted by the Charlestown Secondary School. And then the final activity within this time frame, there are 2 more activities after, but within the month of October, we will also see the Miss CSS pageant. That's the 75th anniversary Miss CSS pageant. And we had the 4 young ladies here with us. They were quite regal in their presentations, from the way they carried themselves to the way they spoke. To the entire department really reflected their regality. And we had Miss Kejane Hill, and she's sponsored by Paradise Sun Charters. We had Malikwa Peets, sponsored by ITSI, Inter-Island Trans Services Inc. We saw Miss Shanae Flynn. She's sponsored by Nevis Islander Water Sports. And we saw Miss Kalia Powell, and she's sponsored by Nelson Spring. And they were here with us, and we encourage you to go on out and support them on October 18th, also at the NEDAX Cultural Complex from 8 p.m. And CSS, as you know, is celebrating 75 years of achievement, growth, and inspiration. Early bird tickets are available currently. $25 for adults, $15 for high school students, and $10 for primary. We also know that at the event, the tickets will incur an additional $5 cost. So if you plan to go to Miss CSS on October 18th, the tickets will incur an additional $5. So your adults on that night will cost $30, high school students $20, and children $15, primary school children $15. Please know that this is your chance to take advantage of this opportunity. Also coming up this week, we have the Soccerama taking place tomorrow. It's a primary school Soccerama football festival, which will take place tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. It starts at 3 p.m. We'll have several schools participating. They will play shorter matches. However, we'll look to see it's a precursor to the upcoming event. We know the primary school football tournament starts on Friday, and so it is a lead up to the primary school's football tournament sponsored by the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank. And so the Soccerama starts tomorrow at 3 at the ETW Park, and we look forward to the support of the parents and everyone as we have that activity as a lead up, as I said, to the event, the football tournament, which will start on Friday and run until November 2nd. So that will run 1 month, and the fixture for the games will be provided for you shortly. So come on out and support the various schools, support the various students at the event. We are also looking forward to the elocution contest, which will take place this week. Are you guys participating in the elocution contest? I have my guests in there. They're getting excited when I started to talk about the elocution contest, so we know that it's going to be one for the books. We have the interscholastic elocution contest coming up. And for those who don't know of elocution, I know in my school days not too long ago, we had our elocution events. And so those are just public speaking or poetry-based activities. And the interscholastic elocution contest will take place on Tuesday. It starts at 1:30 at the NEPAC, Nevis Performing Arts Center. So September 30th, 1:30, Nevis Performing Arts Center. The theme is This is Wali, and it will be a showcase of both our primary and secondary school students. They'll perform poetic pieces by local artists. Some of them will be excerpts from songs, but they'll present them in a poetic style. And we look forward to hearing and seeing the work that our students will present for us. We have to ensure that we support our students in the various activities that they engage in, and so we look forward to the support from you parents, from you guardians, from you members of the community, supporters of the various schools. You can feel free to wear your school colors to support your schools, and it starts at 1:30 on Tuesday afternoon. So go on out and support all of our students, and they are also looking out for your support as well. We'll take a short break, and when we return, I'll have the opportunity to introduce our guests who are in the studio with us.
Sugar City St. Kitts, keep it sweet. Keep listening to Vaughn.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past it quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. This storytelling is for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Whoa, let's go.
Let's go. Good morning to all of our radio listeners or viewers via Vaughn Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel, and welcome to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Vaughn Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education Natal, and on each final Saturday of the month, the Ministry of Education partners with the Ministry of Communications through the Nevis Disaster Management Department, and we use the opportunity to share information related to various hazards which affect us here on Nevis, with the hope of having better preparedness. We use our student ambassadors from our various schools, so each school has representation, and they come on to the show and they share bits of information with the listening public. The hope is that they would become the voices of that and the faces of those particular hazards, and be the ones to champion and lead at their school, but also across the island in the awareness campaign as it relates to those hazards. We know that as part of the disaster management thrust, the component with our students, or the school-based hazard awareness, is just one component. Those are generally partnered with the church or faith-based component as well. So while for each month where there is a hazard of focus, you will have awareness campaigns coming from our schools through this activity, through the Youth on the Go program, and through our faith-based organizations, also using the various platforms as well to share the information. And so today, we have with us two ambassadors, and they will tell us who they are and, of course, which school they represent.
Hi, my name is Kahim Pemberton, and I represented the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School.
Hi, my name is Yandra Robinson, and I am representing the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School.
Wonderful. Y'all doing great. And listen, they're in here, they're shining, they're beautiful, they're rearing and ready to go. And today, Kahim and Yandra, we will be talking about floods. Now, floods are one of the most common natural hazards in the Caribbean. And sometimes we overlook it, but from time to time, listeners and viewers, we will have flash flood warnings, we'll hear about floods, and so we know that they are a reality. They can occur at any time of the year, and are most often caused by heavy rainfall or from hurricanes or storms. And so we'll start with Kahim. And Kahim, the first thing, because we can't go into a conversation without defining our key terms, right? So we're talking about floods. Kahim will tell us what is a flood.
A flood is a large amount of water covering an area that is usually dry. Flooding may only be a few inches of water, or it may cover a house to the rooftops. Floods that happen very quickly are called flash floods.
Okay, so we can have relatively minimal amount of water, and then we can have them covering rooftops. And that shows us that there is a wide range, large scale that we can look at as it relates to floods. Ziandra, what are some of the causes of flooding?
Some of the causes of flooding is hurricane, heavy rainfalls, clogged drains, deforestation, little to no drainage system, ocean waves coming to shore when rivers overflow, when dams or lakes break.
Wonderful. Now, Kahim, who are most at risk of flooding?
The most at risk of flooding are elderly people. The very young people living in low-lying areas and those residing in communities with poor drainage management.
Interesting. Any other groups at risk, Anziandra?
Additionally, pets or livestock may be also at risk if preparations are not met to safely evacuate them.
Perfect. Okay, so then we start to think about it's not just people who are at risk. So based on what you've shared so far, we've seen that the elderly, very young people, so we're thinking babies, maybe toddlers who can't really take care of themselves, at high risk in terms of people. But Ziandra shared something else very important, because sometimes we forget. Our animals are at risk, and our pets, our livestock, if we do not put measures in place, then floods can really affect them negatively, right? All right. So we'll start off with Kahim, and then we'll go over to Ziandra. So we'll just run this question through. Both of you can give your contribution. What should we do before a flood? We'll start with you, Kahim.
Before a flood, we should work with neighbors and the community to keep drainage and the surrounding free from garbage. Have an evacuation plan, especially for vulnerable persons. Have a disaster survival kit prepared.
Monitor the weather and listen to emergency instructions. Store food, bottle of water, livestock feed, household items, and chemical waste from flood waters. Ensure your property against flooding.
So some of these things can be done close to our, at a certain point, but something like ensuring your property against flooding, you have to think about that. And I don't think, and I know for sure, that you, Kahim, and you, Ziandra, might not be in a place to be able to insure your house because you're children. And so I think that we should take some time to remind parents, remind the adults listening, that it is important to insure your homes against flooding, because it is something that can happen. Monitoring the weather conditions, and I know that the Nevis Disaster Management Department often sends out alerts. Every morning they send out the weather updates. And so from time to time, for those persons in the morning when you listen to Vaughn during the the early morning before you go to work, before you go to school, there's always a weather update as well. And so from time to time, you would hear flash flood warning or flash flood watch, and those are the times that we know we have to put measures in place. We have to be alert, we have to be aware. So thank you so much to both of you for sharing those bits of information as it relates to what we should do before a flood. Now, what do we do during a flood? And we'll do it the same way. You'll start off, Kahim, and then Ziandra, you'll pick up, okay? What should we do during a flood?
During a flood, you are advised to do the following. Don't attempt to drive through a flooded road. The depth of the water is not always obvious. The roadbed may be washed out under the water, and you can be stranded or trapped. Children should never play around high waters or storm drainage, as they can be swept away from fast-moving waters. Don't attempt to cross rivers or flowing streams where water is above the knees.
Okay, wonderful.
Turn off water, gas, and electricity at the main switch or valve. Do not disconnect all appliances. Do not touch electrical equipment if you are wet or standing in water. So some appliances such as television setups shock you even after they have been unplugged.
Interesting. So, and this is just a rule of thumb. That last rule that Ziandra shared with us is a rule of thumb. You never deal with electricity and water at the same time. So if your clothes are wet, and that's just a general rule of thumb, especially in a flood, yes, because we're talking about flooding today, but boys and girls, that's a general safety rule of thumb. If you're wet, if you're standing in water, do not have anything whatsoever to do with electricity. Don't try to unplug something, don't try to plug something in, because once your hands are wet, your body is wet, your clothes are wet, you can be electrocuted. And electricity and water, we say all the time, do not mix, because lots of times they result in death. Okay? So we have to be careful with that. I also like the idea of that Kahim shared with children. Children should not play around high waters or storm drains, because usually during floods the water moves really fast and they can be swept away into the ocean, and their bodies can be, totally injured from knocking back and forth, and that is not safe for them. So we encourage children to stay away from large. I know children like to splash in water. I know we probably have all splashed in water. We love when rain falls and we can splash in the puddles. I don't know. It's an attraction for children. But when you have high waters and you splash in them, sometimes you can injure yourself as well. So be careful in floods. You move away from those fast running drains, and the water is coming down the road really fast. So even from your school and you're going down that road and the water is rushing down the road, you try your best to not get into that water. Okay? That's important. And that, boys and girls, also goes for you, because we don't know where we would be when it starts to flood. And sometimes it goes from a light rainfall to a flooding situation or higher waters quickly, especially when you've had rain for extended periods. So if you had rain for a whole week on and off, it doesn't take long when you get heavy rainfall for the waters to rise. All right, so we will take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation and the information sharing with our ambassadors from the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School, Kahim and Ziandra.
When VON vibrates, the whole Caribbean must shake.
860 AM, the powerhouse.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past it quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. Youth on the go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Oh, Let's gather round, an adventure is always waiting. This storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers via Von Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel, and welcome to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education at TAL. I am here with two amazing ambassadors. Their names are Kahim and Ziandra, and you met them just before the break, and they're sharing with us this morning on floods. We're speaking about floods, and as we know, every month, at the end of each month, we focus on a different hazard that can potentially affect us here on Nevis and in the Caribbean as a whole. All right, so we're going to continue. We've talked about what to do before a flood. We've talked about what to do during a flood. Now it's time for us to take a look at what we should do after a flood, because there are measures that we have to put in place after. All right, so what should we do after a flood?
After a flood, you should re-enter the building with caution. Use flashlights. Do not open flame candles, as flammable gas or materials may be inside. Be alert for fire hazards such as broken electrical wires. If the building has been underwater, do not switch on the main. With a professional assist. Do not do a damage assessment.
Do not use appliances or equipment until they have been cleaned, dried, and thoroughly checked for damages. Report down to utility lines, electricity, water, gas, and telephone to the appropriate authorities. Boil all water and do not eat leftover food until it has been checked for contamination. Keep away from disasters areas, as your presence may hamper rescue efforts.
All right, so some of these bits of advice can be appropriate for children, but some of these bits of advice would need to be done by adults, because I don't know, would either of you be ready to, in a position or feel prepared to do a damage assessment? Maybe not, right? So, but you can do something. You can advise the adults in your households, boys and girls. Okay, we can't go in. So all those pieces of advice and information shared by Kahim and Ziandra, they're really to help us, to help our parents who may not have thought about it, and especially in a hazard, boys and girls, it's easy for us to become so scared that we don't necessarily do the best things or the right things, right? So it is important for us to have these conversations now, so that you are mentally prepared to be able to do what needs to get done. Okay? Is there anything there that we think we can do as children in the bits of advice for after a flood? Look at it quickly. Any bits of advice that we could have there that maybe as a child you can do?
Keep away from disaster areas, as your presence may hamper rescue efforts.
Exactly. So because children like to run around, my goodness, everything is exciting, and so it's important for you to remember to keep away from the disaster efforts or the recovery efforts, right? Also, the fact that you should not have, that when you enter a building you don't just run in, because once again, as children, we tend to, we just don't have to worry too much about much. And so we go in. But having heard from Kahim and Ziandra, you understand that after a flood, you just don't go running in. You don't go running in barefoot. because you have, especially with when waters recede or if waters are still going, because one of the joys of splashing in water is to do it without your shoes. But there could be debris in there. There could be pieces of glass or metal that can cut and cause serious injury and harm. Okay? All right. So there are some words that we want the listeners and viewers to know. And the words and terms, and the first one we've used a lot today, but we never defined what it meant. Flash flood watch. Flash flood watch.
A flash flood watch. This means that the flash flooding is possible. Be prepared to move to higher grounds. Tune into your radio or television for more information.
All right. What about a flash flood warning?
A flash flood warning means a flash flood is occurring. Seek high ground on foot immediately.
All right. What about a flood watch? So there's a difference. The first one we looked at was a flash flood watch. Now we have a flood watch.
A flood watch means that the possibility of flooding is present, but it is possible is relevantly low. Constant monitoring occurs. Tune into your radio, media outlets, or television for more information.
Okay, and we have a flood warning.
A flood warning means that flooding is occurring, coming, or will occur soon. Indication shows that water level will exceed the alert level within 24 hours. If advised to evacuate, do so immediately.
And we know what evacuate means, right? What does evacuate mean?
To leave a certain area.
To leave, yes, to leave a certain area. And we hear the term evacuate lots of times. Now, one of the things that we didn't talk about today that I think that we can talk a little bit about is the communications kit. From time to time, on some of the hazards when we have some of the ambassadors in here, we have the conversation about the importance of having a communications kit at home as well as in your classroom, or a safety kit, and not just a first aid kit, the communications plan, and a safety kit. So the communications plan is generally the plan that you have within your home for if something happens and you're not together, or if something happens and you are together but you know you have a plan already as to how to approach it. So what we always advise is for each family to have a plan, a hazard plan, a communications plan, so that in case and any type of hazard comes, you know what is expected. So a lot of these bits of pieces of advice that we've shared this morning will help to shape or make your plan for how to respond or what to do or what happens if you get separated. So if there's a flash flood and you are at school and your parents are at work, what is the plan? Is the plan that you wade through the waters and walk home and try to hope for the best? Is the plan that, what are some of the ideas that you think we can give to persons if they're making a plan for flooding?
So my plan is to go down to the office, ask somebody to call my parents and tell them I'm at school and I'm about to go home. So, yeah.
So somebody might need to come and get you, right? So that is the good plan, because the plan should never be that you walk through the waters, okay? Especially when you have floods happening, that can never be the plan. Zandra, you had anything to add? Not yet? Okay, so let's go off of what Kahim started with. Usually when you're at school, your school would not necessarily just send you walking in the rain, okay? We will be in constant communication with the Nevis Disaster Management Department. They will tell us, for example, whether or not we would have to dismiss school early and get the parents to come to get you. Whether or not in certain areas, if we have high waters, if we would have to send a school bus to get you out of the area and have the parents meet you in a certain place. Each school has a way to communicate with parents. They have groups, they have group chats, they have various ways to communicate with the parents. So if they have to get urgent information out, there is a way to get urgent information out. If the waters are too high, parents generally leave and find a way to get you as well. When they realize it's raining a lot, most parents would not necessarily leave you at school. But it is important for you to have the conversation, because some children will not really think about it. They'll just think, okay, I have my raincoat, I'll be fine. And so it's important for you to have that plan so that you can say to your parents, and your parents can say to you, in the event that there is a lot of rain that is too much and we realize the waters are rising, do not leave the school, because it's important for the children to know that they should stay put. Okay, does that make sense? And as Kahim said, if he's not sure, he can always make sure you can go to the office and ask to make a call or ask for advice. As I said, more than likely your teacher will give you the instructions as to what is expected, but if not, that is always a good plan. What if you are at home and it's flooding and your parents are at work? If you had a communication plan for that, or you had to create a communication plan for that, what would that look like? And there is no right or wrong answer. That's the beautiful thing, because each home will have their own plan that works for them. Right? For some persons, maybe somebody next door, the grandmother lives next door, your grandmother is at home in the house with you. For some persons, their parents may have different mechanisms, your neighbor or something in place. For some persons, the plan would be that your parents would get home immediately. So there is no right or wrong answer. Do we have any thoughts if you're at home and your parents are not there, they're at work or they went to the store, and you realize the waters are rising? What do you do?
If anyone is at home, I'll ask them to call my mom and tell her that what is happening, so what to do.
Okay, wonderful. And what else? Anything else that we can think about? Would you run outside and start splashing?
No.
Okay, so the plan is to use all of this information that you have to make wise decisions as well, right? So even if nobody's right there, right, and then to tell you, don't go outside and splash in the water, stay inside, those types of things, you have to have that in place. You have to have that in your mind. All of the information that you've shared with us today is very important, and you have to apply it if there is ever to be an instance of flooding. Okay, so what if everybody's at home together and the waters are rising? And I remember in the definition we said that we could have relatively low waters, but then they can go as high as to cover the house or rooftop. Okay, so if we realize the waters are getting really high past the steps and coming up, what would be your advice? Any advice?
Go to higher grounds.
Go to higher grounds? Okay, you go to higher grounds probably before, but if the water is already getting high, what would higher grounds look like if you're in the house?
If you have a place to be able to walk up to the roof, go to the roof.
Okay. Yeah, because some persons can do that, can get safely up to the rooftop if you realize it's getting that bad. And even inside, if you see, because sometimes even though the water is rising outside, it doesn't get inside, right? So sometimes the best advice is to stay inside, and you can sit on go onto a table. That's the one time that you might be allowed to go on the table, the dining room table, because you can't go on the dining room table every day. Or someplace that is a little higher that you would not normally sit or stand on, just to make sure that you're not getting that water on you. So that's part of the conversation that you can have at home, and that's what we talk about, the communication plan, and having the family meetings is important. And we encourage every month, we encourage our ambassadors to start those family meetings and to start those conversations in your classroom. You can ask your teacher, may I have 5 minutes for us to talk about the communication plan for our class? Or you can approach your teacher and say, teacher, we don't have a plan if there's a hazard, What's the plan if? And find out the plan if you don't already know the plan. Each school has a plan, but if you don't know the plan, then it's time for you to ask some questions. That's fair? All right. So we're going to take a short break, listeners and viewers, and we'll be right back.
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past it quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Whoa, let's go, let's go, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. There's storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the Go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Whoa, let's go, let's go, let's go.
All right, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers via Vaughn Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Welcome to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Vaughn Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education Natal, and I am here with two amazing ambassadors. They are so awesome. And they're here this morning to talk to us about flooding and some of the things that we can do to prepare for floods, some key terms that we need to know as it relates to flooding. And so we've been having a good time sharing and kind of brainstorming outside the box and trying to figure out what can we do to advise or help our listeners and viewers, even as ambassadors for these various hazards. We have with us
Kahim.
and
Ziandra.
okay, and they have been doing an amazing job, as I said. Now, we've shared, as I said, some tips for what to do before, what to do during, what to do after. Is there anything that stands out for you that you would say, if I had to ask you to repeat one tip that you stated before, that you shared before, what would that tip be? And why do you think that's important for our listeners to remember? Because they might not remember every single detail, but is there one tip or one thing, whether before, during, or after a flood, that you would want our listeners to remember? And if you can, tell us why you chose that one.
So my tip that I chose was work with neighbors and the community to keep drains and surrounding free from garbage.
And that's before, during, or after?
Before.
Okay. And why did you choose that one? Why was that one? Why was that one that stood out for you?
This one stood out to me because if your drainage is not properly cleared, the water won't drain properly. It would stay and continue rising instead of going down.
Yeah, and so when we have opportunities to do that, we should. And in your school community, are there opportunities to make sure that areas are cleared as well? As students, you can make sure that certain areas are clear so that when water comes, that it doesn't, as you said, rise to the point of being hazardous. Is that something that students can do? Yes. And perhaps even your student council or your class can decide to look around your community and see if there are any areas that could do with a little extra cleaning up. And that teaches us to be good citizens. And we are coming out of independence, and we talk about patriotism and pride for our island. Cleaning up the garbage removing litter from the beaches as well as from our communities is a good example of being patriotic. Maybe persons don't realize, but that is one of the best examples. We had a beach cleanup last week. There was a beach cleanup last week, and that is one way that persons are helping as well. So I love that one, Kahim. Good choice. Were you able to find one that you think is worth repeating, Zandra? Okay, which one is it?
What is a flood warning? A flood warning means that flooding is occurring or will occur soon.
Okay.
Indication shows that water level will exceed the alert level within 24 hours. If advised to evacuate, do so immediately.
Okay, so that's one that you want persons to remember. Why did you choose that one?
So if a flood is coming or will occur soon, you should reach higher levels, or if instructed to evacuate, do so immediately.
Okay, and let me go a little further. I like that one, Ziandra, because as I said, sometimes we're listening to the news and persons say flood warning and we're like, oh, might not happen. But by the time you get to that flood warning stage, it means that it is highly likely. And so your awareness and the fact that you highlighted that term will help persons listening to listen more intently and to understand how to respond when they hear certain terms or they read them in the weather update or the alert that came out, right? So I think that was a very, very, very good choice. Now, if I had to pick, I would probably pick all of them because all of the information that you shared this morning is very, very important. But I think I want to go back to the point of children, since it's a show that is geared towards children and the youth, that they have to be mindful in flood conditions. And so I will go during. I think it is mentioned during and after, but I'll look at the one for during that says children should never play around high water or storm drains as they can be swept away by fast moving water. I think that that is something very important, and to extend it by saying let's not as children try to go and play in the water even after, so during or after, because there are dangers seen and unseen that can affect you. So be careful, be mindful, and be alert. And a major part of disaster awareness is to be alert. Okay, so we're going to close off your segment, and I'll allow you a chance to say good morning to anyone out there who is listening or supporting you, and that could be your family, could be any members of your family, could be your teacher, your principal, anyone who you know is listening. I'll give you a chance this morning to say good morning to any or everyone who you can think of this morning that you want to share and say good morning to.
So I'd like to say good morning to my mother, my teacher.
Okay, so persons will have to know who your mother is. So when you say the role, you have to tell us their name as well, Kaim. That way persons know who we're talking about, okay?
So I'd like to say good morning to my mother, Sharina Pemberton, my teacher, Sharina Powell, and my principal, Jessica Liban.
All right.
I'm not sure if my mom is watching it, but I know my grandma, Jacqueline Bartlett. I'm sure of that.
And say good morning to your mom anyway, so because she'll probably, if she's not getting it live, she's going to come back and watch the replay. So just let everyone know who she is.
My mom is Deborah Bartlett.
All right. Anybody else who want to say good morning to? Okay, and so I want to say good morning to the entire team at the Elizabeth Pendleton Primary School, all of your teachers who have molded you and have prepared you for not only for this experience, but for throughout your entire primary school journey. You've been there, this is your 7th year or so, because you're in grade 6? Okay, so you're in grade 6, this is your 7th year at the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School. 70 in primary school, can you believe it? But you have grown so much, and so I want to say kudos and good morning to Mrs. Liebert and the entire team, Mrs. Liebert, Miss Sadler, the entire team there at the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School. Commendations to you for a job well done, and we continue to commend you and to support you as much as we can on this journey. All right, so listeners and viewers, before we close out, we thank you. We want to say thank you to our amazing ambassadors, Kahim and Ziandra. It was their maiden voyage here on Youth on the Go, but I'm sure they'll come back from time to time. We would love to have you anytime you want to drop by. We'd love to have you here with us. And we want to encourage everyone, because guess what? They will be featured this week during the upcoming elocution contest. So you will be able to see some of them. So, well, these students in studio and students across the island as they present on the theme, This is Oali. We have the individual round. That is just one student presenting. And then we have the choral round, which would be a group of students presenting. And so there are 2 rounds to the elocution contest. Go on out and support our students in this endeavor. We also, and that's 1:30 on Tuesday at NEPAC. We also remind you of the inter-school Sakarama happening tomorrow, 3 p.m. And the various schools are, is anybody participating in Sakarama tomorrow? Or are we just going to go see? Okay, so but you have classmates and schoolmates participating, so go on out and support the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School, of course, because they're in the studio with us this morning, and all of the other students who will go out and give their very best as we lead up to, all roads lead to the start of the St. Kitts, Nevis, and Willa National Bank Primary Schools Football Tournament, which kicks off literally on Friday, and it runs for a month, so it goes until November 2nd, and we'll see various, each day you will have games, I think 4 to 5 games per day. We'll have all the teams playing. This year we have introduced a package for all of the games, so adults, not children, adults can purchase a package for entrance to all of the games, and all of those funds that will be collected from the gate receipts for the regular season will go directly to the schools. So the money will be redistributed across the schools to help with their various programming. And we know that the students and the coaches and the teachers and the principals will greatly appreciate that. So we have had a lot of support. Persons over the years have asked us about collecting gate receipts. In the past we did not. This year we will. A nominal fee, I think it will work out being just about $2 per game if you buy the package, and $5 per game if you pay at the gate. So $2 per game isn't bad, $20, and you get to see all those games. And each game day you have about 4 or 5 games per game day. So I think that is, imagine seeing 5 games for $2. So that is a steal of a deal, but the money will go back to the schools, to the students. We'll just redistribute that for them. So we encourage you to support our schools, to support our students as they go into the football season. And we wish every team every success tomorrow during the Sakarama and in the upcoming tournament. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful run, and we look forward to joining you next week for another edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio.
It's time, come on, rise and shine.